Okay guys, so in this quick tutorial I'm actually going to show you how to take apart the commercially available foam cutters. I don't know if there's any type of copyright things that I can't actually say their name or anything, but I'm pretty sure you guys all recognize these. I think once again you'll kind of be surprised at the relative poor quality that these things are. And I'm not, to be perfectly honest, to look at the components, I'm not surprised that there are issues. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of bring the camera in a little bit closer so you can see. I'll try not to talk so loud right next to the camera, but the majority of this tutorial, all you're going to see is just my hands working with these, and we'll kind of go from there. So let's kind of get right into it. Alright guys, diving right in here, I'm going to show you how to, basically the first step we want to do is take off the plastic handle, because more often than not when these things go bad, what happens is this little small switch in the center, actually it doesn't melt to the eye, and I'll show you that in just one second, but the internal components actually will kind of break down. So I like my vice grips. If you guys haven't seen these, I have used them before, but basically you screw this backside, which sets the gap of your teeth, and then you can pinch down tight and it does a really solid clamp. You can use any type of clamp if you have just a normal vise at home. You can use that too, but all we're trying to do is this right side, so if you're looking at it with the switch, this is the left, this is the right, you just want to pinch this plastic, but not hard enough that you're actually going to break it. There's just there's two little teeth inside there that once you compress this plastic, they'll let go. There you go. There we go. So you'll kind of see how there's the basically two teeth in there, and this is just two halves that fit next to each other. I took one apart where I kind of scratched off this side, and you can see how they fit together. But that's kind of the first part, is you just want to get the handle off. And what that does is it shows you the internal workings of your hot wire foam cutters that you purchase from this place, and it's not much different than what I've shown you guys before. Is you have a switch that goes basically between your 2-liter wires. There you go. You have, it doesn't matter if this is your hot or your cold, it's just a matter of having a complete connection, where basically you have, the hot wire come up one side, it goes up one arm across your nichrome and back down. So all the switch is, it just interrupts that connection. And like I said, I mean, this thing's really small, maybe, I don't know, not even an inch. But what happens is this, because it's so teeny like that, is these, you have to take into account that this copper tubing is actually a conductive metal. So when this wire gets really hot, or if you've been cutting for a long time, over time what'll happen is the heat will actually transfer down the copper tubing through your actual studs here, and you can see that they actually just have your normal ring terminals on here, but it will come down and damage the actual switch itself. And one of what they have is this little knot, and that knot just sits basically when these two shells are together, is the knot just sits inside there so it doesn't pull the wire out. So let me show you this other one. Is what had happened is this had gotten so hot that it actually melted the knot. I don't know if you guys can see that real well. So look at that. I mean, that's completely melted, and it had melted inside of this one clamshell. As you can kind of see, it melted to the side. So I mean, that just goes to show that when you use these cutters, I think I got tangled here. that just goes to show that when you use these cutters, it's really important that you have a really nice big gauge wire that can handle the temperature. And I mean, if I was going to guess, I would say that this is probably less than 20 gauge. I mean, it's a really, really fine, small wire. But basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to remove these ring terminals and replace this wire and everything with a much stronger wire. But this is basically what you're paying for, is small wire, a cruddy switch, and copper tubing. So, save your money and make your own. But either way, I'll kind of break this down a little bit further and show you the components. So just give me a second. Here's basically what you're paying for. You have the handle itself, which is just formed plastic. You got a couple of screws with nuts. This is probably the only cool piece, is this is actually what sits right in the top and holds on the screws. But again, you don't really need that. I mean, if you look at the way that I design it, is you can make something like this at the hardware store for a couple bucks. So save your money. But here's the couple of ring terminals, and kind of look at how small that is. Let me grab one of the ones that I use. To compare, here's one of the ones that I use. It's a little bit, it's still thin. I mean, that's kind of the idea, but it's a lot beefier. It can handle, a lot better temperature, so you don't have to worry about it getting damaged, or it will transfer some heat. But there's just the two of those, and here's your little switch. And like I said, it has relatively cheap components on it. I'm sure this is, not much more than a cent or two when you buy them in bulk, or at least when you get them for kind of a mass supply. Your 2 pieces of copper tubing, and then your connection wire with the DC terminal. And that's pretty much your handheld cutter, just broken down into its basic components. So, it's like I've been saying all along, is that these hot wire foam cutters are really, really easy to make. And definitely when you have your components, is just by beefing them up a little bit to something that you can get from your local hardware store, is it's actually a stronger handheld unit. Not only structurally, but also that the components themselves will handle the heat better, and you may not get as much transferring when you're using a wider gauged wire and so on and so forth. I won't take the time to break down the rigid wire cutter, because it's basically the same thing. I have another one right here that's broken down, and the only difference is that the copper tubing is a little bit shorter, and that they have these screws kind of just screwed into the top, basically. And to that is what you attach the more rigid wire. Other than that, that's the teardown for your commercially available handheld hot wire foam cutter. So you can check out the next video. That's going to actually have the kind of walkthrough on the Pro Power Station. So I'll see you there.